Hello Year 11s, I'm just going to do a quick screencast for you as you're working through your holiday homework. This is part of the extension work that most of you will have an attempt at, and what I'm doing here is I'm drawing some comparisons between To Kill a Mockingbird and 12 Angry Men. I'm looking at week 4, so if you scroll through your booklet you will see that the week 4 work relates to the particular pages that I'm referring to from To Kill a Mockingbird. Okay, so we're right in the middle of the Tom Robinson case here. And for those particularly interested in legal studies and the law, this is a good one for you. So we're looking here at the theme of justice. So what I've done here is I have used the key quote that really establishes Tom Robinson's innocence as a focal point for a discussion of To Kill a Mockingbird and what the text says about justice and evidence in the American court system. The comparison with 12 Angry Men that I have drawn is in relation to what Juror 8 says about the prosecution and how potentially the lawyer for the young boy may not be all that good at his job. So we'll see how this goes. So the central idea explored here in relation to justice with To Kill a Mockingbird is that the novel demonstrates how legal justice is compromised because the case against Tom Robinson boils down to a black man's word against the Yules. So if you go back to page 97 in your book, you will see that this is a conversation that Atticus has with Jack Finch, his brother, when he is first given the case, and he's actually been assigned the case. So it's not something that he has a choice in doing. So that's an interesting discussion in itself, because as a lawyer, Atticus has a responsibility to defend those he is responsible for defending. So we can talk about that later, but just note that there as well in terms of the fact that he feels extremely responsible for Tom Robinson and trying to do the best that he can in defending him. So as readers, it becomes evident that Tom Robinson is innocent of the rape charge against him. Atticus's expertise as a lawyer and the seriousness with which he undertakes his role as a defence attorney appointed to defend Tom Robinson is demonstrated in the way he goes about questioning the witnesses for the prosecution. So you'll see in these pages that the way that the court case plays out establishes very, very clearly Tom Robinson's innocence. So we've got the mounting evidence that Atticus begins with by calling Bob Yule to the stand, and also Heck Tate, and questioning which side of the face Mayella Yule is bruised on. So once it is established that her right cheek and eye socket were bruised in the attack, then what Atticus goes about doing is interviewing Bob Yule to see whether he can write, and he says that he can write with both hands. So clearly Atticus is developing his case, and then finally when he calls Tom Robinson to the stand, we can see that he is deformed on one side of his body. So the quote here, Tom Robinson's powerful shoulders rippled underneath his shirt. His left arm was fully 12 inches shorter than his right. I could see that it was no use to him. Really establishes the evidence that supports the idea that Tom Robinson could not have assaulted Mayella Yule as is alleged by Mayella. So we've got evidence there, really strong evidence that proves Tom Robinson's innocence. So that's a really interesting comparison with 12 Angry Men. So if we look at what Juror 8 says about the nature of testimony and the nature of the legal counsel that is perhaps commissioned to defend the young boy charged with the murder of his father, we can see that he poses some questions here. If I was on trial for my life, I'd want my lawyer to tear the prosecution witness to shreds. Those two witnesses were the entire case for the prosecution, supposing they were wrong. Okay, and we might have a little bit of a look at the film to see how this all plays out.
Calm down, will you? Don't tell me to calm down. Hey, you want to take the chair? Just take the chair. That's all. You think such a thing? Listen, you think it's funny or something?
Forget it, fella. The whole thing's unimportant. Come on.
Unimportant? Well, here, you try.
No, nobody wants to change. You're doing a beautiful job. Sit down.
Yeah, you're doing great. Just great, fella. You stand there and pitch, huh?
All right, let's hear from somebody. Well, if you want me to tell you how I feel about it, it's all right with me. Boy, I don't care what you do. All right, I don't have anything brilliant. I don't know as much as you do. According to testimony, the boy looks guilty. Maybe he is. I sat there in court for 6 days listening while the evidence built up. Everybody sounded so positive. You know, I began to get a peculiar feeling about this trial. I mean, nothing is that positive. There are a lot of questions I'd have liked to ask. I don't know, maybe they wouldn't have meant anything, but I began to get the feeling that the defense counsel wasn't conducting a thorough enough cross-examination. I mean, he let too many things go by, little things that...
What little things? Listen, when these fellows don't ask questions, it's because they know the answers already and they figure they'll be heard.
Maybe it's also possible for a lawyer to be just plain stupid, isn't it? I mean, it's possible.
You sound like you met my brother-in-law once.
I kept putting myself in the kid's place. I'd have asked for another lawyer, I think. I mean, if I was on trial for my life, I'd want my lawyer to tear the prosecution witnesses to shreds, or at least try to. Look, there was one alleged eyewitness to this killing. Someone else claims he heard the killing, saw the boy run out afterwards, and there was a lot of circumstantial evidence. But actually, those two witnesses were the entire case for the prosecution. Supposing they're wrong.
What do you mean, supposing they're wrong? What's the point of having witnesses?
Okay, so hopefully that gives you some kind of insight into the thoughts that occupy Juror 8's mind as he reconsiders the information that was presented to him during the trial of the young boy. So there's some really nice opportunities for comparison there as Juror 8 starts to doubt the way that the lawyer's gone about presenting the case in defending the boy. Okay, so the idea explored. Juror 8's insistence on sticking to the evidence rather than conjecture prompts the jury to consider the facts of the case more carefully. The reliance on the testimony of the two eyewitnesses is called into question when the jurors re-examine this information and combine the two testimonies. Furthermore, Juror 8 compels the rest of the jurors to question the skill level and the commitment of the lawyer for the young boy. There's a couple of things going on there, and you might need to have a look further at the film in regards to the combining of the two eyewitnesses' testimonies to see how that all plays out. And that relates to the train passing by when the murder occurs and whether the old man could have theoretically heard the young boy yell out, "I'm going to kill you," because the train would have been passing and it would have drowned out the noise. So we can see there the importance of evidence in the presentation of a case, but also the importance of a lawyer or a defence lawyer in this case really establishing a line of questioning that doesn't leave any questions unanswered for the jury. Everything should be really laid out on the table in a way that's very transparent. There seem to be a lot of unanswered questions, and this perhaps could be attributable to the lack of thoroughness of the defence attorney. Okay, so let's have a look at some similarities then. So in both texts, we see how justice is dependent on the expertise of the legal counsel defending the accused. Both texts also highlight the tendency for juries to dismiss or to reject the facts of a case. And I didn't go into that with To Kill a Mockingbird. We get the facts of the case, and clearly as readers we can see that Tom Robinson's innocence is irrefutable, but later on you will see that despite this, the jury convict him, okay, and that's because of their own prejudices and the fact that a black man has never been found not guilty of a case that he's alleged to have committed. So that's going to be interesting down the track. In terms of differences, whilst To Kill a Mockingbird establishes Tom Robinson's innocence right from the outset, 12 Angry Men does not position viewers to view the boy charged with the murder of his father as innocent. We become active participants in the trial of Tom Robinson as we listen to the testimony of the witnesses and the lines of inquiry pursued by the prosecution attorney, Mr. Gilmer, and the defence attorney, Atticus Finch. In contrast, the information about the trial of the young boy in 12 Angry Men is presented to us through the filtered recollection of the 12 jurors. So that's an important distinguishing feature between the two texts. So you can see that as readers, we are privileged to listen to the testimony presented during the trial of Tom Robinson. That's a really important part of the book, those chapters there. But of course, in 12 Angry Men, what we get is the jury room discussion. So we only get information that's filtered through the recollections and the memories of what those 12 jurors who were listening to the case gleaned from it. So there's an important distinguishing feature between those two texts, and they serve two very different functions in that regard. Okay, so with To Kill a Mockingbird, we're really encouraged to see the way that justice is impeded despite the facts presenting Tom Robinson as innocent because of the prejudice of the jury system. Conversely, in 12 Angry Men, what we get here is a discussion about the jury system in essence, and the way that it works in the American legal system, and whether justice in the end can prevail. And it's not so much a matter of the boy being absolutely irrefutably innocent. It's a matter of this whole claim of reasonable doubt being something that is tested. Okay, that if there is reasonable doubt, then a verdict of not guilty must be delivered as per the judge's instruction at the beginning of the case. So there's two really quite separate discussion points that the texts really encourage and foster us to think about. So there's something for you to go on with. Okay, so I've just put this together just to hopefully encourage you to keep going on with your extension work and to give you a little bit of guidance and support if you need that kind of support. All right, happy holiday homework.